How's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? Welcome back to the channel. And folks, we got plenty of news and reports to discuss that have come out today. But before I get into it all I ask is that if you're new to the channel, don't hesitate for smashing that like and subscribe button. Thank you all so much in advance for your endless support as always. And of course, I have to let you all know that today's show is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs. So make sure you head over to betonline.ag using promo code Bleav at BLEAV. That way you get yourself a 50% off welcome bonus. BetOnline, it's where the games begin. And now, folks, let's officially let the show begin, because as you see here, we did a live stream earlier today because the Mets have signed Pham as their 4th outfielder / platoon DH for the 2023 season. Make sure to check out that live stream if you haven't already, folks, as I broke down and shared my raw reactions and analysis to the signing and truly what it means for the Mets going forward. Again, greatly appreciate it. If you guys haven't checked that out already, make sure to do so. But now let's get into the reports that have come out since the Pham signing, and that is that, yes, according to Robert Murray, the Mets have extended their catcher and Tomas Nido on a $3.7 million deal over the next 2 years. They are buying out his final years of arbitration, so he'll be making around $1.6 million in the 2023 season and $2.1 million in the 2024 season. And for me, I'm a big fan of Tomas Nido, and I know he's not necessarily the heart and soul of this Mets line from an offensive standpoint, but defensively, he's an absolute stud. He was the lone Gold Glove finalist for the Mets this past year. Even though he didn't win it, I really don't think that means much, considering Juan Soto literally got a Gold Glove in right field, and he's one of the worst right fielders in all baseball defensively from last year. But hey, who knows, right? Getting into Tomas Nido a little bit further, however, I like this move for the Mets to make sure that they have stability at the catching position over the next 2 years, him and Omar Narvaez alike. They just did a presser recently to officially announce the signing of Narvaez. And again, whenever Francisco Alvarez is ready to come in and play to be a full-time player, whether that's the second half of the 2023 season, whether that's earlier in the season, whenever it may be, that'll give the Mets more options and flexibility. And then when the time is right, if they want to trade either of these catchers, they certainly can do so. And buying out those arbitration years for Tomas Nido only helps their chances of pursuing a potential trade in the next year or two, should they wish to do it. But Tomas Nido, what stands out to me is, yes, he's not necessarily an offensive stud. Defensively, though, in the 93rd percentile in framing, if I didn't mention that already, absolute stud in that category. Per Fangraphs, defensively was a plus 14.5, one of the best in the position in the game of baseball right now. And when looking at offense, yes, had a 240 average with just under 30 RBIs and just under 100 games this past season. However, with runners in scoring position, Tomas Nido was more like Tomas Clutch, with having a 282 average at over 300 OBP and, of course, having 23 RBIs. Really, really solid numbers. It felt like every single time that he was in a runners in scoring position type situation, he was slapping the ball, a little delayed, but getting it for an oppo bloop single to right, whatever it may be. But Tomas Nido, love the man. Happy to have him back in Queens for another 2 years, and we'll see if he does, in fact, stay with the Mets throughout the entirety of that contract or not. But now getting on to our next piece of news today, it comes from Jon Heyman, then Andy Martino, that yes, the Andrew Chafin market is heating up. The veteran southpaw reliever is looking to sign potentially the next couple days or so, if not week, and the Mets are among multiple teams showing interest in the southpaw, as they've also shown interest in Zack Britton that we already know to this point. But Andy Martino then says that yes, while the Mets have interest in both these players' markets respectively, they've also had a level of interest still in players that have options on their contract. So unlike Chafin and Britton, the Mets have a level of interest in guys that they know that they can option to the minor leagues if need be, as they've done already this offseason, and picking up certain waiver claims and making lower level signings. So whether the Mets land either of these relievers or not has yet to be seen, but I want to know your raw reactions in the comments below, because for me, I'm a heavy advocate of both these guys. Zack Britton, I think, is a reclamation project, but still a guy that can provide some value for you in non-high leverage situations and potentially build up to be somewhat of what he once was back in the day, even though I don't expect it too much, as again, just another lefty in there alongside Brooks Raley. And Andrew Chafin, I've said so much of him. Again, we did video breakdowns of both these players, as you see from here, so make sure to check it out. Links down below in the description. As always, folks, check out the videos if you haven't already. First was the breakdown initially on Zack Britton, and then to the right, you see an older video I did earlier this offseason on Andrew Chafin. That still holds true, because I've been a heavy advocate of his for easily a year and a half now. Andrew Chafin is the best southpaw, I believe, available on the free agent market currently. I want him last offseason. I want him going all the way back to the 2021 trade deadline when he was still with the Chicago Cubs before he got dealt to the Oakland A's. So I'm not going to harp on them too much. watch, make sure to check out those respective videos, as they really broke down and shared analysis further on their games. But just to harp a little bit more on Andrew Chafin specifically, you see stat line down below, a really solid 2022 campaign with the Detroit Tigers. And what stands out the most to me about Andrew Chafin is he doesn't just get lefties and righties out well with a solid walks per 9 clip, with his strikeouts per 9 looking solid too. More than anything, he can do this in high leverage situations, and that's what separates him from Zack Britton. Now, if the Mets get Zack Britton, I'm not going to be upset whatsoever. The Mets have already done great with their bullpen this offseason, but Andrew Chafin really would take it over the top, in my opinion, by adding another strong, dominant southpaw to this bullpen alongside Brooks, really. They make sure that you have those two options, and then you still have Edwin Diaz, Adam Ottavino, David Robertson, so on and so forth. This bullpen gets nasty really quick if you bring in Andrew Chafin. Whether he comes here again has yet to be seen, but I'm just happy that the Mets are currently involved in that market, and if they do make something happen for him, then I will be the first to tell you just how excited I am about it, as I've been a heavy advocate, as I said, for at least a year and a half now. But the final reports that have come out today are not regarding current players, but previous players and people in the Mets organization, as yes, the 2023 Mets Hall of Famers are going to be Howard Johnson, Al Leiter, Gary Cohen, Howie Rose, and even though he's not pictured here, Jay Horowitz, are all going to be inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame. I'm so pumped for every single one of these guys, from Hojo to, of course, Al Leiter. But I mean, the booth especially, to not only have Howie, who's long overdue, but to also have Gary Cohen, the voice of the Mets in so many ways. I'm so pumped, so happy for them. Long overdue, but beyond deserving. And Jay Horowitz, who has been an absolute staple in the Mets industry for decades on end, beyond deserving. So happy for them all. So especially for my Mets fans out there that really appreciate, you know, the best in the booth, that is Gary, Howie, and of course behind the scenes what Jay has done over the years, along with the players previously in Al Leiter and Howard Johnson. It brings up so many great memories for my more seasoned Mets fans and myself, who didn't watch them live, obviously, but know and appreciate how much they meant to this Mets organization. So happy that they're inducted. The Mets will now have officially 34 inductees into the Mets Hall of Fame once it is all said and done this season. It's going to be absolute scenes, as my brother, good friend Darren loves to say over in the UK, big Mets fan. Very happy for them all again, beyond deserving. I'm just pumped up to see this actually come to fruition for them all. But Mets fans, I want to know your thoughts in the comments below, because that's going to do it for this video. Let me know your biggest takeaway about the Tomas Nido extension, the news, rumors regarding Andrew Chafin, Zack Britton still, and the Hall of Fame inductees. Whatever your thoughts are, make sure to drop them down below. And again, Mets fans, if you found yourself enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, don't hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button. Thank you all so much, as always, for your endless support. Stay tuned for more great content on the channel per usual, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.